Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel for an emergency live stream which I was not expecting to do this evening. I did say in my video earlier, well actually I can't remember if I cut it out or if I left it in the video. I said in my video earlier on that I had a feeling that IDAH would be here by the Hibs game on Sunday. I was right, but I wasn't thinking it would be as quick as this, because the breaking news this evening is that the deal has been agreed between Celtic and Norwich City, that IDAH is en route to Glasgow for his medical, and that he will in fact be a Celtic player by the weekend. We've got a lot to talk about, including the elephant in the room, which is in the title and the thumbnail of the video. We're looking at a record fee for IDAH, which is something I don't think anyone expected at the start of the window. We'll get onto that in a moment. Welcome yourselves in. Make sure to hit like and subscribe if you haven't already. And if you're watching back later on in the evening while we're not live, then hello. Once again, like and subscribe. Jordan, thank you very much. Hail, hail, Ryan. Greeting from Jersey. Keep up the good work. Player of the year prediction. Away day you'd like for the Champions League? I'll quick fire answer you. My prediction is Kasper Schmeichel, even though he's not made a save. And I'm sticking with what I said in the podcast. And away day, God, Milan. There you go. There's my answers to that. Thank you for the donation. If you do want to donate, ladies and gents, you know how to do it. But we better get into the news, because it is broke this evening that IDAH's transfer fee has been agreed with Norwich City. He is on his way to Glasgow in a deal. Hold in case you've not seen the news yet. Sit down. Take a deep breath. Don't fall when I tell you this. He's ready, because if you don't know, then you're going to be... Celtic have agreed a deal with Norwich City of £8.5 million plus a potential £1 million additional clause, which will come through this depending on what the clause is. If it's goals scored, appearances, international goals, whatever it is. £8.5 million plus £1 million additional clauses, plus a 15% sell-on fee, which means Norwich will get 15% of the money Celtic get when they sell on the player in however many years' time. This is a huge deal, which doesn't start off as a record fee for Celtic. Of course, the record currently held by the signing of Odsonne Edouard back in 2019. We signed him for £9 million from Paris Saint-Germain. But it starts off at £8.5 million, and if these clauses are met and the £1 million goes into it, the additional clause, the additional fee, we are looking at a £9.5 million signing of IDAH. I can't quite believe it. Somebody who was, technically speaking, the backup striker at Celtic last season, somebody who, technically speaking, is meant to be coming in to be backup striker again, but at that price, wow, can you really justify him being a backup striker? It's somebody who apparently Norwich only wanted, but we heard rumours early in the window that it would be £7 million to try and get IDAH services from Norwich City. Celtic went in with an opening offer of £4.5 million. It was rejected. Is this the doing of Celtic? Is this Celtic's fault that it's this much money? A lot of people get their knickers in a twist. I'll get to my opinion in a minute. Let me just get this clear straight away. I don't necessarily care, right? I don't. I'm not sitting here going, I've been robbed. But we'll come on to it. I've got to get Dylan's comment because we have got a donation. I will get to everybody's comments as the stream goes on. I'll try my best to get to as many as I can. You know how they work. Dylan with a 5. If you do want to get your comment in and prioritise, you can donate. Dylan says, why does anyone care what we spend on IDAH? Celtic are sitting on a pretty penny. Dylan, I am inclined to agree with you, mate. I'll get into my thoughts and my opinions as the stream goes on. It's not going to be a fee that impresses everybody, that pleases everybody. This is one that's already dividing opinion within the support. Listen, before I even get any further, can I just say, at the end of the day, this isn't IDAH's fault by any stretch of the imagination. I see a lot of people giving it IDAH stinking on social media already and saying that, he was never worth that, this, that, next thing. IDAH didn't ask to be labelled as an £9.5 million player. He didn't ask for that to be the transfer fee. IDAH's coming in, and he's going to have to do a job for us now. He's got to prove his worth, and I have full faith that he will prove his worth. But get behind the boy, Don't sit and put the pressure on him. This is the nightmare that I've been waiting for. And we'll come on. There's a lot to talk about. Thank you to another one from Paul who says Tony Khan for director of football. Feels like it tonight. TJ, thank you as well for your donation. TJ with the £2 saying nothing, but thank you for the donation anyway, TJ. So this is huge because it's going to put the pressure on, and this is exactly, so we have been begging Celtic to spend money, for weeks now, and they've went out and spent money, and there is a large amount of supporters online already complaining it's too much money, he's not worth that, whatever, we should have capped it at £5-6 million, whatever, right? That seems to be a majority of the opinions that are floating around at the minute. That's what I feel like it is anyway when I scroll my feeds, and when I look in this comment section, I feel like that's what we're getting. So people have been complaining, we're not spending money, we've spent money, now they are complaining. This is what the problem has been for years. For a football club whose supporters have been begging that we up the ambition and that we look to spend some money and bring in a striker or bring in players in other positions for a high sum of cash, we've done it. And it seems like there's backlash already. And now the pressure is on IDAH. And I've made this point across numerous years on the channel, and especially on the Celtic Thunder podcast. Me and Kieran Auld have been very vocal about this. This is probably why Celtic don't spend £9 or £10 million in a player as much as you would like them to, because now the pressure is on and the room for failure is so much narrower. Adam IDAH cannot fail. That Vasilis Barkas failed for Celtic at £5.5-6 million. We treated it as a disaster. It was huge for the club. It was £6 million down the drain. Albion Ayeti came in for £4.5-5 million. It was hopeless. It was a waste of money. It was £4.5-5 million down the drain. So now anybody who comes in for this fee, this is the pressure's the pressure's not doubled. It's tripled. It's quadrupled. And Adam IDAH has now got the pressure of that on his back. So this is where everybody's got to just get behind him. You know, there's no point in crying and complaining. It's the money that Celtic are sitting on, and they do nothing else but sit in it if they didn't spend it here. And I can understand why people think that this is a steep amount of money to spend on Adam IDAH. But what's the point in getting your knickers in a twist about it? It's not came out your Santander, it's not came out your RBS, you've still got your money. This is £9 million out of the Celtic bank account. It probably wasn't going to shift for any other reason. Brendan Rodgers said that after this we want to make one or two other signings. One of them's looking to be Jeffrey Schlupp of Crystal Palace, who probably will cost no more than £2-3 million. The other, God knows who. We're talking maybe two more signings after this. So we were probably only going to spend a few more £1 million in this window. The 10 million was never going to get spent. We may as well spend it in Adam IDAH. That's the way that I personally look at it, because they're just not going to spend it. So who cares? Really, thank you to Siobhan, by the way, for the £1.99. Really appreciate that. God bless. So yeah, listen, he's still young. I think people are treating this as if Adam IDAH is some 30-year-old striker that is not going to play for Celtic or whatnot, because he's backup. At that fee, we are going to see Adam IDAH play a lot more football for Celtic. And with Kyogo going off the park yesterday with his shoulder falling at his socket again, he's guaranteed to play more football for Celtic. He's got to, because Kyogo's falling apart. His shooter is just constantly out and in. Adam IDAH's going to need to play more football. This fee will justify the more football. Brendan Rodgers probably wants to give him more football, because I feel like he's a really... Kyogo's came in and started doing better. He started fitting into the system more, and Rodgers spoke about that at the weekend, in fact. But IDAH is a Rodgers striker, you know? He's somebody who really suits what Brendan Rodgers wants to do. He's got similar qualities, and I'm not saying he's the same player, because he's not. They're different players. All three of them are different players, but he's got similar qualities to what Moussa Dembele and Odsonne Edouard had. Mostly the physicality side of things, to be fair. Their size is the biggest thing. He's a Rodgers striker. He's probably going to be signing a 5-year contract. He's only 23. Adam IDAH has got more than enough time to become Celtic's starting striker on this fee. And if he comes in and plays to the ability and the quality that he did in the 5 months he spent here, sorry, my forehead is sweating, it's boiling in this loft. If he comes in and plays anywhere near, even gives us a sliver of the quality that we've seen while he was playing here in the 5 months of his loan deal, over the course of a 5-year contract, he will more than justify that £8.5 million fee. I'm telling you that right now. I'm confident of it. So it's all about getting a manager that he's comfortable playing with, playing under. That's Brendan Rodgers. It's about coming in and being part of a team he's comfortable in, which we have already seen firsthand. All the tools are there to do it right. Now, everybody's complaining, saying we could have got better strikers for it. I raised the same question. Who are these better strikers? And people are saying, I know everybody's got to go Miovski. Miovski's away to Girona. He's gone. And he would have picked Girona over Celtic every week, every day, and I'm on for Sundays, Miovski's going to pick Girona over Celtic. You might not like it, but he's gone to. They've got more money. It's a better league. He's got Champions League football. He's going to go to Girona. So for £9.5 million, what strikers are coming in to be better than Adam IDAH? Because I can't name them. The scouts do that job, and us here, we don't know them. And I'm not saying that that's the case for everybody. There'll be some of you watching who might watch other leagues and might go, he would have been a good striker, he's better than IDAH. But realistically, there's not a lot of players, £8.5 million out there that are going to come in and they're going to be better than Adam IDAH. That's what I think. So I welcome him back with open arms. I can't wait for him to come in. At the end of the day, the £9.5 million isn't coming out my bank account. Or the £8.5 million isn't coming out my bank account. So, if the manager does him good enough, if this, and most importantly, if this is the striker that Brendan Rodgers wants, it's the striker that I want. Because the manager should be backed, and I've said it day after day in the channel for about a week now, you either back the manager or you lose the manager. And this £9.5 million signing of Adam IDAH, a Brendan Rodgers player, is backing the manager. So if Rodgers has faith in him, I most certainly have faith in him, and I'm happy to hear the news that he's on his way back to Celtic. Just for those who might be tuning in, by the way, we have over 1,000 live viewers at the minute, so that's crazy. That's most this year, I think, at one time. Please, if you haven't, hit like, hit subscribe. Just to clarify we'll get into your questions and such for the remainder of the stream, but I will give a brief rundown on the story for those who might have missed it, who have tuned into the stream late. Celtic and Norwich have agreed their transfer fee for the signing of Adam IDAH on a permanent basis. Celtic will be putting forward a deal which Norwich seem to think is acceptable. £8.5 million up front with £1 million additional clauses. It can rise to £9.5 million. There will be a 15% sell on for when he decides to leave Celtic, whenever that day may come, if it does come. And he is apparently on his way to Glasgow. Could be in line for a start against Hibs at the weekend. It's as simple as that. Of course, he has been playing football. He played for Norwich City at the weekend against Oxford in the Championship. So, yeah, it looks as though he's on his way to Glasgow. I can't wait for him back. Thank you to Gary, who says IDAH will be a cracking signing and has proven himself already. Yes, Gary, absolutely. I said it. I put this on the TikTok the other day. He's proven quality. And before I start going into questions and answers and taking questions from all you the viewers, we put our clip of the podcast up on the TikTok, and somebody made the point, or somebody said in the comments, oh, you can sign 3 or 4 players for £8 million. And what? We signed 7 or 8 players last year, totaling to a fee of 18, 19, 20 million quid. Not one of them was fucking worth it. Nawrowski doesn't get a game. Lagerbielke doesn't get a game. Palma has struggled. He's injured already. Who else did we spend money on? Tellio, gone. All these players that were totaling up to £20 million. These were your 3 or 4 players worth $8 million. And guess what? We're bringing in somebody who arguably won us the league, who won us the Scottish Cup. He's not done it in Europe because he's not got to play in Europe. And what other striker? This is what I don't get. So where's this? He's not done it in Europe. What strikers have done it in Europe? Lawrence Shankland. He's no fucking done it in Europe. Miovski's no fucking done it in Europe. So what's the problem? We're not going to sign a striker who's proven in Europe, because guess what? They're getting moves to bigger clubs. This is the market we're shopping in. It's 2024 at Celtic Football Club. Wake up. It's not going to happen the way you want it to. It's as simple as that. Adam IDAH, brilliant signing. Fantastic signing. Craig, thank you for the donation. Craig saying, Julian was 7 million, 9 million is nothing. A fantastic point, by the way. Christopher Julian, we spent £7 million on, and we all liked him. We liked Christopher Julian. I'm not going to rewrite the past and say that Christopher Julian isn't a good player. Because he was just so unfortunate with injuries. On the surface, £7 million seemed like a good bit of business for somebody who was looking really impressive in that season before the league was stopped for COVID. He was unlucky, he got hurt, but as you said, it makes £9 million for IDAH look like nothing. And do you know what? It is bloody nothing. I'm not hearing this whole debate that it's too much money. Celtic have £120 million sitting in the bank. £120 million. It might be more than that, because we're expecting, as the board have said, significantly better financial results. Watch them turn around and say there's £150 million sitting in that bank account. Are you going to turn around then and say that £8 million's too much? Are you fuck? That's a smidgen of the money. And they're only going to get more and more when Matt O'Reilly leaves the club, when Rio Hatate leaves the club, when Alistair Johnson leaves the club, when the new kits come out, when Adidas fleeces for all these extra lines, when the League Cup tickets come out, when the Scottish Cup tickets come out, the Derby tickets come out. This club has so much money that £9 million should not mean anything at all. Simple as that. Simple as that. I can't wait to see you back in a Celtic shirt, I tell you. And do you know what? See if it goes tits up. See if it doesn't work. Fair enough, it doesn't work. Yeah, we might sit here in a year's time and go, it's a waste of 9 million. We shouldn't have done it. We got robbed. I think that £9 million is just something that we shouldn't be doing. Nah, that was a terrible decision. We might do that, but guess what? Without this ambition that we constantly talk of, what is the point? What is the point? You either put the ambition out there and you spend the money, or you don't do it. So guess what? Some things work in football, some things don't. Every signing's a risk. No matter if they're 1, 10 or £100 million. They're all a risk. And you know what? I'm happy with this one. Let's get into some of the comments, because I've been fucking ranting. 1,200 live viewers. Let it stay in my hair. I'm ringing. My forehead is ringing. I'm trying to hold off on the haircut, so that's why I'm going for. You'll see me wearing a lot of hats in the next 2 weeks. I tell you that, by the way. Right, let's get some questions. That's what I want to hear. Ewan saying the same people crying that we don't spend money like this are the same ones crying about the deal. 9 million is a gamble. We know what we're getting with IDAH. And sorry, the last bit cut off because the chat's flying. And he's every bit as good as Edouard. Big statement at the end. I don't know if he's every bit as good as Edouard yet, but at the age of 23, you know, that's. You know, it could be. It could be very, very soon. Ricos, he's got the big question in. This is the big question. Realistically, Ryan, if IDAH costs £9.5 million, how much would you pay to kritiqued? Listen, it depends on the quality of kritiqued. You need good quality kritiqued. And then you can start talking about the money. So, listen, we'll weigh that up in future. Right now, it's all about Adam IDAH, but I certainly think kritiqued is the way to go. I really do. I love that bit, honestly. I'll never get tired of it. I feel like the chat, for having, we have 1,200 viewers in the chat, and the chat's flying right now, and I feel like I see a lot of happy people, I see a lot of critical people as well, and look, I think that just because I don't think we should be critical doesn't mean I don't think you can't be critical. I think there's definitely room to be anxious about that sum of money for Adam IDAH, especially. Look, listen, let's take ourselves back to January. Here's me playing devil's advocate. I've made it perfectly clear that I am happy with this signing and that I'm totally okay with Celtic paying £9 million for Adam IDAH. I've made that clear, but let me play devil's advocate for a moment. If we go back to January when Adam IDAH was first linked with Celtic, I was wanting him nowhere near the club. I didn't think he was good enough. We were looking at Norwich's third choice striker. I think that Celtic have shot themselves in the foot here. I think it's their own fault they're having to pay such a high fee. They didn't negotiate an option to buy back in January because they left the business so late. They started their negotiations through the summer with a cheeky £4.5 million, which was not acceptable. And I don't blame Norwich for saying it wasn't acceptable. I think they were totally within their rights to say that. Celtic have shot themselves in the foot in many ways here. But in January, yes, if you told me that come August the 12th, that we would be signing Adam IDAH permanently for a fee of £8.5 million, I would have pissed my pants. I would have laughed. But guess what? The big difference is, in that space of time, between January and August, Adam IDAH came in, and in very limited minutes, very limited games for Celtic, he contributed to 11 goals. He scored the winner in a Scottish Cup final. He totally, understandably, gets it here. Connects with the club, and I'm happy. But I can understand the reservation. As I said, if I play at devil's advocate, I can totally understand why people might go, he's not worth that. I just think there's no point in complaining in this day and age when money is just thrown around in football, and Celtic are banking on much more money, much more money. Right, let's see. God, I'm getting a lot of emails. YouTube creators, Ryan, earn blank from the channel memberships bonus program. That's a finely timed email, isn't it? Brendan McGee saying Rodgers wanted him, the fans wanted him, the board have delivered him. Everyone should be happy. You'd think so. But we are the most fickle support in the world of football. I stand by that statement. It's the same yesterday. People complaining that Celtic weren't good. We went to Easter Road, a historically tough place for Celtic to go and win the game, and we're complaining. We are the most fickle support in the world. I mean, we don't know how lucky we have it sometimes. And that's why people are not happy, because we're a really fickle bunch. We always have been, we always will be. And I'm one of those fickle supporters. I get fickle about things. It just so happens I really, really wanted Adam Idah. 3 million too much for Idah, but he loves the club and did well for us. Hopefully he can continue his development and deliver for us, says Daniel. Yeah, I think you can make the case that, mate. Listen, you can dig up videos of me, people on live streams of me, people ask what's the top dollar you'd pay for him, and I think I said like 6.5 million. I said, you know what, I think 6.5 million is as high as I'd go, and here we are talking about 8.5, maybe 9.5. You know, it is probably too much. But Norwich should value their player the fee that they think he's worth, and we've paid it. That's how business works. Fair play, Norwich. Aaron's in and says, the reality is if Kyogo didn't get hurt yesterday, we would not have signed Idah today for a higher price than first reported. Yet another case of the board being inept. Well, we do have a very inept board. Here's my man Paul. Nice to see you, Paul. Legend. He says, delighted with the signing. Really don't care what the fee is, to be honest. About time Celtic spend some proper cash for once. I was told in May by a source that they initially wanted 12 million, so I'm okay with it. Listen, that might be the case, you know what I mean? Listen, there's so many sources nowadays. We've heard so many different numbers. We've heard 7, 9, you've just said there 12. This was always going to be a difficult deal for Celtic to get over the line. But I'm the same as you, Paul. I don't care about the fee. I'm happy he's through the door, and I think that's one of the most important parts of it. Thoughts on the links of Katie Price's cousin, Vigi, try shit. Listen, you didn't need to bring that up. I didn't have to think of that photo again. Try shit. Left and the right wings. Good work. TJ, thank you for the donation. I would rather spend money on quality, which Idah prove, than loads of money on duds like we have in previous windows. Just a centre-back and a left-back that we need. Thank you, TJ, for the donation. Listen, I think that one of the main talking points of the channel this week is going to be what else does Celtic need to do throughout this transfer window to make it a successful window, to maybe calm the nerves of those who think this is too much money on Adam Idah. You know, one part of that is definitely go and sign a centre-back and a left-back. As delighted as I am with the signing of Adam Idah, which I am utterly delighted with the signing of Idah, it does not mean that I'm happy with this window. As I said in the Celtic the Thunder, this is a transfer which has lost all of its initial celebratory value. This is a transfer that should have happened in June, that has now happened in August after match day 2. This should have been done weeks ago. The celebratory value of it is gone. It's time to move on now. It's time to put the rest of the money where our mouths are and back the manager and spend it on other areas in the squad. 2 of them being, as you've named, TJ, centre-back and left-back. It's a very, very good point. Celtic fans would want Idah if he was French. Oh, controversial, Callum, but probably true. Do a poll, right? I don't know how to do a poll. I don't think I could do it on this software. I would like... How do I do it? Hold on, I might be able... That's a good idea. Let's do a poll. Let's see. If I go into... I think if I actually go into YouTube... Sorry, keep your comments coming. I'll try and... This is like the busiest stream that I've had in a long time. Since like last year. 1,300 people. So apologies if I'm not getting to your comment. It's understandable, I'm sure, the amount of people there is here. I'm going to try and get a poll going to carry us through the remainder of this stream, because I would like to see what people are saying. I can get a poll going. Let's get a poll going then. Let's go. Are you happy? Let's go. Stay with me, lads. Are you happy with... Let's see. 9.5. Right, let's go. I'm going to put in 3 options for you. Oh, bang. Oh, Jesus. Couldn't. Let's see. Right, I've started a poll. I want to see results flying in. I want to hear your opinions on said poll. It is in the chat. So I've asked the question very simply. If I can open it up, there we go. Are you happy with 9.5 million for Adam Idah? We have 1,300 live viewers Thank you for the donation, Buzzlop. Very much appreciated. And right away, as the votes pile in, people saying he was £7 million. Listen, the report is, unless there's been an update to the reports seem to be £8.5 million, rising to £9.5 million. I don't know who's been hearing seven, unless things have changed drastically over the past 10 minutes. But I don't think it has. It's not £7 million. It's 8.5, rising to £9.5 million. As far as the reports are going. Thank you to Rabbi Burns, to Tim, by the way. Thank you to Buzzlop saying if he's worth it, why are NWFC fans, why are Norwich fans buzzing? I don't know. You tell me. He's not been getting a game for them. I wouldn't blame them for being buzzing. They're the ones missing out. That's probably why they're buzzing, because he's not really proved himself there. But guess what? He's proved himself here, and there's a player in there. Listen, I would be buzzing if many players left this club, to be quite honest. But it doesn't mean there's not talent in some of them, you know. Mikey Johnson went to West Brom and proved that he has talent. But I'd be buzzing if we accepted £3 or £4 million for him tomorrow. I would be buzzing. It doesn't really mean much. Planet Celtic, thank you very much for the donation as well, mate. Who says, if we do sign IDAH and no one else, which I think will be the case, oh wow, pessimism that, but I wouldn't blame you. We haven't improved from last season, we will have stayed the same. Absolutely. Listen, we've not improved. Right now, as it stands, we have not improved on last season. It's as simple as that. We lie stagnant. This is us now, just at the same point we were last year, which is insane. 2 games in. We have finally got IDAH and Bernardo through the door, which has taken a comically long amount of time. But thank you, Planet Celtic. Thank you to Ian as well. Very much appreciated. God bless you, Ian. And Ronan with a £2 donation. We also have Beam88. It says, unfortunately, I think that 7 million plus is a standard for proven players now. What can you do? Should have put a buy clause in the loan. Yep, negligence. There's negligence everywhere in Celtic when it comes to business and transfers. Not so much business with how the club is run, because we're run magnificently, and I'll always give the board the credit they deserve on that front. But when it comes to transfers, you know, we do struggle in certain departments. So just to a reminder, there is a poll in the chat. If you're watching on a mobile device or your PC, I think you can vote. You can't vote if you're on TV, I think. But out of the 300, so there's about 400 people who've voted in the chat and in our live stream, about 400 of the 1,400 viewers. Are you happy with £9.5 million for Adam Idah? 66% of people have said yes. 16% say no. And it's staying around that number, so roughly 70% of people happy and 17% of people just saying, I couldn't care. Which is where I would put myself. I would put myself and I couldn't care. A lot of donations, by the way. TJ's with another donation. Thank you, TJ, saying we got £4.5 million for O. Exactly. Delighted. We robbed him. Because he's not showing anything here that he's worth £4.5 million. But we got it. And there is a talent in the boy. It doesn't always work at certain clubs. It's not worked for IDAH at Norwich the way he would maybe want it to. It didn't work for O at Celtic the way he'd want it to. Doesn't mean there's no talent in the boy. I wish him the best, and I think he'll do well when he's over in Belgium. Just like IDAH will probably do well up here. Alistair, thank you, saying, although I'm feeling good about this season, a small part of me has the fear since the other lot have made a lot of signings. Board is just so tight. Listen, I wouldn't get too worried about most of their signings. A couple of them look decent, but... listen, big few weeks for Celtic, Alistair. I understand the anxiety around it. Andrew Kuhn has stepped up. Do you still want a right winger? The way that I worded it in a live stream the other night, Andrew, was that I think it's not as big a priority to me as it was at the start of the window, now that Kuhn is showing the player he should have been when we spent money on him in January. I still would like another winger through the door, I think. I think it would be smart business for Celtic, just to bring in, you know, talking to somebody, the standard of quality of Michel Ange and Balanquisha, who we were linked with. But listen, I think that Kuhn has stepped up just now. We've got to focus on the left back, the centre back, and then we go from there. If we have time in the window after that, then yeah, I would still like another winger in the door. So yeah. I love this one. Celtic are a football club. Buy footballers. Do you what, Truth and Freedom? I'm pinning that on tomorrow's thumbnail. That's how I would like to get my point across. That's how I would like to get it across. You'd think that it is some fans' wallets. You know, we're being tight with it. But aye. Ian, hello. Nice to see you. One of my favourite viewers. I love seeing you, mate. And feel free. We won't be on much longer anyway, so you can watch it back from the start very, very soon. But thank you for the donation, Ian. You're an absolute legend. It's good seeing you. I hope you're well, mate. I hope you're well. Let's get a few more questions before we get through to the end. As I said, it seems the majority of my chat are happy. And do you know what? I feel like most people are happy in general, because this is a signing that we all wanted. This is a signing that we all really, really called for at the end of the season, and we're rightly going to be happy about it. And the fact that we're not opening our Santander apps and seeing that part of the transfer fees came out of our bank accounts shouldn't really be to all that bothered. Still at 67% of 500 voters, by the way, saying that they're happy with the fee. 17% couldn't care. Only 16% not happy with the fee. A couple more questions. Let's go on. Why is everyone so mad? When we don't spend money, nobody's happy, but we do spend money, still nobody's happy. You can't win, Brian. You cannot win. Stuart, thank you, saying would prefer IDAH to Dessers. Just saying, says Stuart. Well, I can't argue that point, Stuart. I don't even think I would argue that point, Stuart. But thank you for the donation. Cal saying, Cho Gui Sung for striker, I'm afraid. Remember him, Cal. You love your Korean strikers, don't you? You love them. Helen saying, hi Ryan, about time for Adam IDAH. Yes, I mean, I didn't think it would be as soon as tonight when I made my video today, but here we are. It turns out to be as soon as tonight. James saying, if paying close to 10 million wasn't... Let's start again. Rushing about here in the roasting hot loft. Let's go. If paying close to 10 million, why wasn't this done the day the window was open? Sheer negligence from the Celtic board. Once again, a left back has been required for a number of windows. Yeah, they could have had this deal done, but they didn't want to pay out. It's as simple as that. They didn't want to. Thank you to everybody watching, by the way. We were up at 1,400 viewers at one point, which is insane for a live stream. And I really do appreciate it. We will be talking about this all week, so make sure to tune in as much as you can. Let's see. Ewan says the board backed Ange, and look what happened. Rodgers is a better manager, and if they back him, we will bury Rangers out of sight. Well, that's it. I mean, Ange never spent 9 million on a player, but he was backed with the players that he wanted. IDAH is a player that Rodgers wanted. It's a cracking point, Ewan, and I think it's incredibly fair. Planet Celtic, thank you for the donation. Do you think the board lack ambition for Europe? Seeing neutrals suggest. Why should Celtic improve when they dominate Scotland? Yeah, they do lack it. They don't match the fans' ambition. I don't deny, and I don't doubt for a second, that there's members of the board who would like to do something in Europe and see the financial benefit of doing something in Europe. You get £2 million every time you win a game in the Champions League. So I don't doubt that they don't enjoy the prospect of those successes and doing well in Europe, but they simply don't have the same ambition as the Celtic supporters, and at least that's how it seems on the surface, because they haven't backed the team and the club to that same ambition as the Celtic supporters. So, yeah, it does feel like it seems like as long as they're ahead of Rangers, they're happy. And that's been the sort of mantra coming out of Celtic for years. Connor saying IDAH will be a fantastic servant for the club, but always worry about Kyogo getting burnt out. Well, we've seen what happened yesterday with Kyogo and his shoulder popping out. So, you know, and that links in. I see Mark. Hello, Mark. Nice to see you. I've seen you've been popping up and down in the chat, but I've not had the chance to get one of your comments. How many games will he start over Kyogo? Well, it's not for me to choose that. It's for the manager at the end of the day. And listen, if Kyogo's sugar keeps popping out, then maybe more than we expect. Kyogo's getting towards his 30s. IDAH's 23. There is going to be a period in time where a seamless transition is needed between strikers, and going from Kyogo to IDAH could be the right move. There's forward planning involved in the signing of IDAH, and that's another reason why I'm happy with it. Shay Joyce with a $4.99 saying we need a left back winger and a centre back. Forrest has still been very good, but him being a bit older, I think, is why we need a winger of quality with Palma's lack of form. I think it's a fair point. I've been enjoying watching, of course, Jamesy recently, and I think he's been good. There's not an awful lot of room for criticism right now with James Forrest, but he is getting older, he is getting on a bit, and we could do with improvement in there. Thank you very much, Shay, for the donation. And Simon as well, who says, how can you say that you're not fussed about IDAH when you're sitting there creaming yourself? No, I'm not fussed that we're spending 10 million. That's why I am creaming myself, Simon, and I will continue to cream myself for the sake of Vijay Tridic. Right, I'm going to wrap it up there this evening, ladies and gents, because I am absolutely boiling, and I feel like I'm going to turn into a puddle. We've been live, a puddle, we've been live for about 36 minutes now. So I like running through the donators one more time before we go off the air. So I feel like it's only fair. Thank you to Jordan, Dylan, Paul, TJ, Siobhan, Gary, Craig, Buzzlop, Rabbi, Planet Celtic, Ian, Ronan, Beam, Alistair, Andrew, Ian, Stewart, Connor, Shay, and Simon. Thank you to everybody who donated this evening. Listen, there is going to be more talk about Adam as the days go on, but as we understand, he's on his way to Glasgow for his medical. So keep on the channel tomorrow. Through the week, we'll be here to report it when it happens and when he is standing in the Celtic shirt and his new Norwich away top. You know what I mean? God bless everybody. Thank you so much for making it such an enjoyable stream this evening, and I'll see you all next time.